Hi guys, it's Afi here. Hope everyone's well and welcome back to another Gran Turismo video. So we've got another couple of daily races here. We've got Group 4. Decided to use the EVO for this one. Seems like it's the most popular car for this track. The four-wheel drive system, really good. Gives you loads of traction. It is a bit understeery, but definitely the popular choice. So I've decided to use that. Qualifying time done a 2-minute 2.6, which I will happily take that. I think it's 1.3 seconds off the fastest time in Europe. So overall, I'm in the top 200 in Europe. So very pleased with the qualifying time, especially a lap being well over 2 minutes in this one. So let's head into the race, and you've got Mel who runs a bit wide, drops to P4. I'm just gonna have a look inside, and he sort of shuts the door as late as possibly can. So it's quite crucial to get turns 3 and 4 quite right. Very tricky corners. Turn 3 took me ages to fathom that corner. Spent ages trying to work out what the best line possibly is. So just heading over to turn 5. I'm just on the outside. Mel slightly brakes a bit too late. I've got the inside line, but frustratingly he's got the inside line coming out of turn 6. So at this point we're probably even on pace, and he's definitely got the Peugeot, which is an absolute beast in the straights. We've got P2 and P3. You take a very narrow line, and it sort of invites me and Mel back into play. Heading towards Schumacher S, we've got the Spaniard who's got a 2-second penalty. There's a bit of contact, he goes wide, and I just do not know how I ended up avoiding him. So just having a look on the inside, he blocks the line as expected. Frustratingly enough, I just couldn't take the opportunity to get the move done. So I'm as close as ever. Unfortunately, I'm just a bit too close to get the slingshot, and you can just see how quick the Peugeot is on the straights compared to the EVO. So heading towards the chicane, and just having a look, and Mel absolutely screws it up, gets completely the wrong line, and tries to ram me into the pits, and I'm just going to hold my ground. He runs a bit wide, and I've got the move done. It's just too aggressive. I mean, if the penalty system was there, he would have definitely got at least 1 second penalty. Now, I haven't actually got a good feeling about this. It's right behind me, and guess what? He rams me. So I go absolutely too deep into turn 1, ended up losing 2 positions, and I don't really know what to say. I mean, he's just got away with gaining 2 positions by ramming me. Now, it's actually quite debatable whether Gran Turismo actually fixed the issue. I don't think they have. They've literally just turned the penalty system off, which doesn't really resolve the problem. And I just don't know. I mean, in some cases it's great when there is really close racing where you can be clean, but in instance like this where he's just too aggressive and just got away with it scot-free, it's quite difficult, especially if you're in sort of the mid-split lobbies. I mean, I'm sure even his SR wouldn't have gone down for that, so he's automatically going to be put in top ranking lobbies, so it's quite frustrating. I was definitely frustrated during the race, but I managed to sort of still stay behind him. I run a bit wide there, get bad drive coming out of that corner. Go purple, obviously as expected, on your second lap. So he's slowly driving away. Now, he definitely is a quick driver. He's definitely not slow. He's done obviously a quicker time than me, so I don't really see the point why he has to sort of ram you, block you, push you off the track, and he gets a ½ second penalty, which again just rubs salt to the wound. So 2 more laps to go. I've got a little bit of pressure from the Russian behind. I do have to keep an eye on him. I'm not that close enough to sort of take advantage of his penalty. I mean, half a second is not a lot, and the penalty point in this track is you don't really lose much time. So my frustration definitely kicking in. I'm just trying to get the lines perfect in the next few corners just to see if I can bring the gap down. I reckon I need to be at least half a second behind him to get the move done with that. But the biggest issue is I could go for a move on him, or I could overtake him and he's just going to push me off the track. And then I could end up being all the way down in P10. So he serves his penalty. I'm sort of catching him quite quickly. Like I said, I need to be at least half a second behind him to even make that move stick. So my main focus right now, I don't want to lose P4. I just want to sort of stay in the slipstream. I don't think I'll be going for a move, even though if I do get an opportunity, just because it's just not worth the risk. So I just want to sort of defend well against the Russian behind. It's very, very close. If I could have a healthy gap of half a second in front, then that would be good. But as you can see, he's definitely still behind us. I've got the dirty air of Mel, so I can't really attack the corners before the straights. So need to get the chicane right, get that sort of spot on. The Russian sort of not as great as I took it out here, and this is the most important corner. So he runs a bit wide. The gap sort of opens up, but again, the Peugeot is just too quick on the straights. I mean, overall, I think the EVO is the better race car. See, it's weird. It's sort of personal preference, really. I mean, a lot of people, some people like oversteer, some people like understeer. I personally rather have understeer than oversteer. Right, I'm using the word steer a lot, so I'll stop. So, just heading over to turn 3 and 4. I slightly get my braking wrong. I do have to remember when you're following a car that close, you do have dirty air. And the Russian just sort of zooms past. But he doesn't really get that much of a good drive. He still has quite a big gap to P3. So I'm actually really annoyed at this point. I can't believe I've just lost P4. I should have been in P3, but it is what it is. So I just need to make sure that if an opportunity arises, I need to take it, because the guy behind me is not too far behind as well. So I get a really good drive heading towards Schumacher S. He goes very defensive, obviously as expected. I'm just going to come on the outside. Hopefully if I can just take him on the outside. No, he gets his line perfect. I'm just going to see if there's an opportunity heading towards turn 6. I get a very good exit, but again, the slingshot effect isn't there, but I get good momentum. I've got a slight feeling he may be using a controller on this race. So heading towards the chicane, and it's who dares to brake last. I'm normally quite good on that, so I managed to get the move done, so quite pleased with that. At least there was a bit of clean racing towards the end of the race. So nothing more to really say on this race apart from Gran Turismo seriously need. See, I don't know. I don't know whether I prefer the harsh penalty system or whether I prefer this. I mean, it's sort of bittersweet, but I guess you just can't have people ramming you and not getting penalised and finishing on the podium. It's just not on. It's just not on. Right, anyways, let's have a look at race number 2. So we're not racing with that idiot again, so thank God for that. And starting in P5 for this race, we've got some seriously quick people. Top 4 are 500th of a second, so extremely quick. Now my target, I really want to finish on the podium. That's my target. I mean, this was like my 9th or 10th race for the day, and I kept finishing in P4 or P5. So I really want to have a podium finish, and hopefully if I can do it the lobby amongst these quick drivers, that would be just an amazing result. So just heading over to heading over to turn 3. We've got the Croatian who's behind. The problem with sort of starting in the middle, well, not so much in the middle, but sort of top 10 in the middle, you sort of have to keep your eye on the person in front as well as the back, and when you're sort of trying to go for a move, you have to really make sure that it sticks, or else the person behind you will just be able to just overtake, and overtaking is really difficult on this track. So at the moment I'm staying with the pack, which is always a good sign. I've been racing with TSL, the Portuguese. He is extremely quick. All the races I've raced with him, he always somehow manages to beat me, so definitely want to see if I could beat him. So I can see someone's, is that an Atenzo or is that an EVO? No, I think everyone's using the EVO up front, so everyone's going to have equal pace, no one's going to have more of an advantage, especially in car term. So the Portuguese has got a good drive. I've got a feeling something's going to kick off, hopefully in the chicane. The Portuguese driver goes on the inside, and there's a slight little contact, and I get a perfect exit, and I've got the inside line. So if I could just get my braking right, then it's a little bit of contact, he runs a little bit wide, and I get the move done. So it's not over yet. He's got the slipstream, so he's going to definitely try to go for a move going into turn 1. So I'm thinking about going defensive. I want to stick to the racing line. I know there's a lot of runoff area coming out of turn 1, which gives me the inside line heading to turn 2. So, and that's exactly what's happened. So that's a good move done. He just sort of comes back at me on turn 3. I do have to give him the space. I should have really lifted off, but it's fair. I didn't round him off, so I'm just having a look at the inside. He realises that and puts his indicators on. So this is an example of fair racing, and there's quite a big difference. Now, again, it's debatable whether we had the old penalty system. Would we have got a penalty? Would I have got a penalty for that? I don't know. I think I would have. I definitely would have ruined my race. So back to square one. Started P5, ended up back in P5. I can see the top 2 guys are sort of having a close battle, and it's probably a battle for P3. So it's all to play for. I've got the Brit who's behind me, who's sort of managed to get himself close to us. So definitely have to race smart and sort of judge what corners are coming next, and is it worth going for a move, or is it worth holding back? Luckily, the Brit is still around 300-400 of a second behind me, and slipstream is so important. So the Portuguese driver goes defensive. There's not much I could do. Don't really want to go too wide into the chicane. That would be just stupid to do that. So hopefully, if I could get a good exit coming out of the last corner, that will give me a good run. But it's difficult because he's got the slipstream in front of him as well. So 2 more laps to go. Let's see how this unfolds. So he goes defensive. Would I be able to get the cutback done? No, TSL gets his braking spot on, so sort of closes the door. It's so difficult to overtake on this track, and we've got the Portuguese who runs a bit wide, which at least I thought he did, but no, just a random glitch. So the Spaniard takes a slight wide line, cuts in, so he gets a good exit coming out of turn 4. So it's quite a difficult track to overtake, I mean, especially when you've got people sort of lapping the same sort of times as you, especially when there's no silly penalties as well. It is really hard to overtake, so it is definitely satisfying when you get a move done. So the Portuguese goes for a move here. The door sort of opens up for me to sort of follow him through. I try my best to give him as much space as I can, but just could not afford to come off the throttle, just because I would lose so much momentum, especially on an uphill, and losing the slipstream right now would just be absolutely madness, because I would have absolutely lost my chances of getting P3. So I'm still half a second behind the Portuguese driver. I was actually quite surprised that the Spaniard managed to drop off so much from us. He was doing really well to sort of manage his pace up in P3, and he was doing that for sort of 3 laps, and he sort of just dropped back quite quickly, which is quite surprising. So coming out the last chicane, we've got Tarantula as a Spider-Man, who made a massive mistake just on the pit straights here. So quite close. P1's obviously driven to the distance, and it's all to play for the podium position. So harder the brakes going into turn 1, so I'm going to go wide and cut in just in case they run wide, and there's a gap which opens up, and I'm going to take that. And at this point I've got the podium position. Now I need to focus and somehow just bring this home. I just get really nervous when I'm in a good position. So I need to follow the German, just stay on his slipstream, just give me a massive advantage, and I've almost been it. That was the EVO which saved me my race. That's not me, that's definitely the car. So there are perks of driving a 4-wheel drive car than a rear-wheel or front-wheel drive car. So a few more corners to go. I need to make sure that I'm as close as possible to the German coming out the corner on the straight. So as long as I've got his slipstream, I'm going to be okay. So it's quite important that I get turns 5 and 6, especially 6 coming out the corner. It's really important. So slightly late on the brakes, need to get this perfect. That was not bad, so I've got good momentum coming out that corner now. So a few more corners, need to make sure that I get the chicane perfect. So he's too far behind to go for a move, so I'm going to stay on the racing line, hard on the brakes, cut the curbs as much as you can without getting yourself a penalty. So got a really good exit, one last corner. The German runs a bit wide, there's nothing I can do about that. But that's a great result. I was so happy. I'm very happy with that result. To finish P3 in a top split with really quick drivers, I'll take that any day. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time. Thank you. See ya.